Being with Mum, my book, Thriving at Nature's Pace. And I've got my sister, Maria, with me. She's I've got three sisters. She's the second. We're four in the family. And we're all getting on a bit, aren't we?
Yeah, in our 60s.
Yes, in our 60s. Well, she can't wait she can't stay for too long because she's got to go to work. But she's here and she's visiting and it's great to see her. So, anything you want to say to everyone?
Just Merry Christmas, everyone. Stay healthy and be well.
That's lovely. Merry Christmas to everyone.
Okay, I'm just going to get out of the picture now, but of course I'll be listening here for another half hour.
Okay.
Then I'll need to go.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, Mum, we go to the main part of the book. This is part one.
Yeah.
Part one is called Thrive, and the subtitle to part one is Nature Always Thrives. So when we look at nature, no matter how it's been, if we allow it, give it a chance, it always thrives. So chapter one in that. First things first. The economics has to be right. So we'll just read a few passages along here. We're not going to read the whole chapter, of course, too much in one go, and we'll come back to it. The author, that's me, spent 3 decades exactly working in the investment industry, making money for big money. That is, money from pensions, endowments, and sovereign wealth funds around the world. This provided a unique first-hand experience of major global events. With billions of dollars at risk, the key to surviving and thriving through them is the ability to anticipate risks, turn them into opportunities, and temper exuberance to live and see another day. And that last bit is actually quite important. Just, not getting a bit too involved. This unique experience taught one important lesson. The economics has to be right. Mom's very good at that. Whatever the benefits investors may want to achieve, if the economics is wrong, then the goal they want will not happen. Economics is a force unto itself. It will always dictate what happens in the end. And you know that, if you're spending too much money, you're going to get in trouble, basically. Most of the time, people make the mistake of thinking the economics they want is how the economics actually is. Or they see a part of the picture and believe the economics they see is the actual economics that drives the whole picture. This leads to pitching projects with false economics to make the pitch sound good. It can make pitches sound attractive. However, the economics pitched is not the real economics. To see the real economics, it's necessary to follow the money to where that comes from and where it goes to. And that's basically to say that your project may seem like a really good idea, but at the end of the day, you have to look at the whole picture of not just your project, but who is actually going to give you that, who's going to pay for it, who's going to be your customers, where their money comes from, and where everything goes to in the end. This is the problem with sustainable investments. Sustainable investments are not sustainable if the economics is wrong. Where the money comes from is where the worst harm is often done. The sustainable story is simply the pretty part of the story. It is the laundering part to cleanse the money, but where the money comes from and where the profits go to are where the ugly parts are. So just as interlude into this, the Nobel Prize is something that was fantastic, set up there. It was set up by a guy who created dynamites and lived with everybody talking about how he was, creating the arms race and so on at the time. And interestingly, he read an obituary for his brother, the journalist mistook it for him. And all this the obituary said was, he was a Swede, because he was Swedish. And he thought that's all they have to say about him. So what he then did is use the money to set up the Nobel Prize Foundation. Everybody thinks that's brilliant, but they forget where the money actually comes from. And that's where the economics actually is. The damaged world is largely what it is today because of unintended consequences. Few people ever set out to say, I want to blow up the world. They start by saying, I want to help people by building industries. That often leads to unintended harm. As an afterthought, they may establish a foundation to repair their reputation. But the unintended harm generally stays. Dead animals stay dead. Uprooted trees no longer grow. Displaced communities rarely ever return. It's an old story. It's the same story. The unintended consequences are where the good often ends up turning into bad. Where the money comes from and where the money goes to are often the things that matter most. This is the situation with greenhouse gas emissions and climate change. Take, for example, the case of looking after trees. Without doubt, this is a good thing. However, the money for looking after trees often come from greenhouse gas emissions, and the profit from looking after forests often go to the same place. So this is to say that the financing for it often comes from companies that take out the oil, and the profits from it often go back to digging out more. So this is just a bit in the middle that makes it look nice and making everybody think that actually the rest of it is okay too. Everyone loves forests, and because of climate change, looking after forests is now a way to make money because trees absorb carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide is a greenhouse gas. Burning oil and gas and coal is the principal way by which it is produced. And because so much of it is produced, it is also the main contributor to climate change. Businesses cash in on carbon dioxide by managing forests. They make money by using the amount of carbon dioxide absorbed to offset carbon dioxide that other businesses emit. This offset is carefully tallied. The forest manager estimates the amount of additional carbon dioxide the trees have absorbed because they have been well managed, and each ton of excess absorbed becomes a unit of carbon credit. A business that has emitted 1 ton of carbon dioxide can buy 1 carbon credit and say that its emissions have now been taken up by trees. The implication is that the business is now no longer contributing to climate change. So that's the story they want to sell, and that's the story we want to buy because it makes it seem like it's okay. However, the money to buy the carbon credit comes from businesses that have emitted carbon dioxide. These businesses pay because they can make profits. This offset allows businesses to advertise that it is looking after trees. This brings in more customers. That means more carbon credits allow them to sell more of what they do. So it allows the business to grow. The economics sounds good, but the real economics is that profits from creating the emissions, that is why the businesses need to buy carbon credits. And since the businesses want to create more profits, it will need to create more emissions. The big picture for this is that businesses typically do not offset all the emissions associated with their products. There's always some emission left. This may come from the business itself, it may come from the suppliers, or it may be the customers when they use the products. Most insidiously, it is from competitors who, seeing the business as successful, want to get in on the act and make money too. These competitors may not offset their emissions at all to compete on better price. As long as somewhere along the chain there is an emission left over, as businesses grow, more emissions will be left in the air. So we'll just pause there for today. Mum? Should we stop there today?
Yeah.
What do you think?
So the tree produce the gas, the carbon dioxide.
The businesses produce the gas,
Yeah.
and the trees absorb it. The trees use it to grow. So when you see all the wood that is produced,
Yeah.
that wood is made up from all the carbon dioxide in the air that it has taken up, and some of the water and nutrients from the soil that it has taken up. So the idea is if we are putting carbon dioxide into the air, then we can plant lots of trees, and the trees can then take them up. And in that way, you can then tell people it's okay. There's a bit of a problem because when you put it out there, the tree takes time to grow. And the emissions stay around in the air until it's eventually taken up. And then what happens is not all of it is taken up. And then your friend who also wants to do the same business goes along and does it, but they don't grow trees.
Then what did they do?
They just leave it up in the air. And so the way
That
the
is a waste.
yes, so the carbon dioxide is a waste in the air, but what it is it's like closing the window when it's hot. It makes it even hotter. So that's how carbon dioxide works. So in the when heat is created on the planet, it normally goes out into space. Eventually goes out into space. It's like you're in a room, there's lots of crowd, lots of people. You open the window, the heat goes out. It feels cooler. Carbon dioxide is like closing the window, and so the heat stays in for longer, and then the room gets more hotter. So the other way you can do in this case is trees absorb the heat. Absorb the carbon dioxide. And so that looks like it's a good thing. Unfortunately, it may absorb some, but the incentive that you get is the profit you can make, not the carbon dioxide you absorb. So because it's the profit you make, you tend to do whatever you can to make more profit, and you sell the story, this is all working, and everybody does that, but there's always some left over, and there's always some businesses that don't do the same. And so in the end, what you end up with is that your story actually encourages more people to be creating more carbon dioxide, and so shutting more windows and making the planet warm, hotter.
So that makes the climate change.
So that makes the climate change.
Yeah.
It's just like being in the room when the windows are shut and there's a lot of people and the room starts changing.
It's getting hotter.
It's getting hotter and everyone getting more agitated, and they either get more excited or they stop talking and everybody's just in that way. So you can't quite tell what will happen, but it makes it change. So we'll stop there for today. Mum, last word?
Yeah. No, that's terrible.
It's terrible indeed. Yes. So goodbye to everybody.
Yeah, bye.
Bye. Maria's still here. Do you want to say goodbye?
Sorry, my head is
Yes.
too big. Goodbye, everyone.
Not at all. Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Never done YouTube. Is it on YouTube, right?